Now, India and China have taken the first steps towards thawing bilateral ties that have been frozen for nearly 5 years. Prime Minister Narendra Modi and President Xi Jinping met in Russia's Kazan on the sidelines of the BRICS Summit. The two leaders underlined that maintaining peace on the border should be their priority. They emphasized the importance of properly handling differences and disputes, raising hopes for stability along the line of actual control. India also said that special representatives from both the sides would meet to plan next steps.
सीमा पार पिछले 4 वर्षों में उत्पन्न हुए मुद्दों पर बनी सहमति का हम स्वागत करते हैं। सीमा पर शांति और स्थिरता बनाए रखना हमारी प्राथमिकता रहनी चाहिए। म्यूचुअल ट्रस्ट, म्यूचुअल रिस्पेक्ट और म्यूचुअल सेंसिटिविटी हमारे संबंधों का आधार बने रहना चाहिए।
The meeting came after India and China announced a patrolling arrangement along the line of actual control, quote-unquote, leading to the disengagement of the two countries' militaries in eastern Ladakh. The pact allows militaries from both sides to patrol contested sections of the Himalayan border. It aims at preventing border clashes and ensuring that the countries can, quote-unquote, quickly de-escalate when there are disputes. Now, at the bilateral talks, President Xi Jinping also called for more communication and cooperation and said that the international community is paying great attention to the meeting.
We are both at a crucial interests of our two countries and two peoples, for both sides to keep to the trend of history and the right direction of our bilateral relations. It's important for both sides to have more communication and cooperation, properly handle our differences and disagreements, and to facilitate each other's pursuit of development aspirations.
Now, for India and for China, the thaw coming after months of talks at multiple levels reflects more than anything else the power of diplomacy to change the state of relationships. There's a leaf out of this book that many global adversaries need to take. The talks took place during the 16th BRICS Summit in Kazan. The 3-day summit in Kazan is the largest gathering of world leaders in Russia in decades. The meetings on final day of the summit is expected to focus on global issues and also the proposed alternate payment system. And of course, the Kazan thaw, as it is being dubbed, was India and China's effort to take the first steps towards thawing of bilateral ties between the two countries that had been frozen in almost 5 years. Prime Minister Modi and President Xi Jinping met on the sidelines of the BRICS Summit, of the 16th edition of the summit that was underway in Kazan in Russia. The two leaders underlined that maintaining peace on the border should be their priority. And an agreement has been reached about border patrolling. And they emphasized the importance of properly handling differences and disputes, of course, and also raising hopes for stability along the line of actual control. About this all-important meeting, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi had said, and I'm quoting him here, that we welcome the agreements that we have reached over the border. Maintaining peace and tranquility over the border should remain our priority, and mutual trust, mutual respect, mutual sensitivity should remain the basis of our relationship. And for more on this, we are now being joined by WION's Assistant Editor for Foreign Affairs, Siddhant Sibbal, and he is still live from Kazan in Russia. Siddhant, good to have you with us on the show again. Just summarize for us the key takeaways of this all-important bilateral between Prime Minister Modi and President Xi Jinping.
Well, it's being dubbed as the Kazan thaw, and the key outcomes of the visit was first the India-China handshake, something that was missing for last 5 years since the Galwan incident. The second, the resumption of the SR level talks. Now, these talks are basically to resolve the border mechanism, and we know that it came into being in 2003 during the prime ministership of Atal Bihari Vajpayee. Both the SRs, which is the special representatives, NSA Ajit Doval, and the Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi, who met last time in this format in December 2019, will be meeting. The third, of course, is confidence building measures. Fourth is in terms of strategic communication that will be strengthened. And the fifth is in terms of the low hanging fruits in the relationship that can be fulfilled, like the resumption of the Mansarovar Yatra, the air connectivity between the two sides, something that the Chinese side has been pushing, also easing in the visa restrictions for many Chinese businesses, something that the Indian businesses have been calling for. So these are the 5 key points, but generally this meeting is closely watched in global capitals from Tokyo to Washington, from London to Canberra. And we know that while US and Australia and other countries have increased the engagement in terms of patching up with Beijing, the India and China relationship suddenly getting this spike and this hope that there will be a resumption in the formal relationship is something that everyone is closely watching.
Siddhant, is there any word on when the next steps will ensue, the all-important confidence-building measures in which Mr. Ajit Doval and Wang Yi are supposed to be partaking?
Well, when it comes to the next step in the relationship, as I said, low-hanging fruits, both sides will be looking in terms of the resumption of the existing bilateral mechanism between the two sides and the easy outcomes in terms of the resumption of the Kailash Mansarovar Yatra, the free movement of people, the Indian students who want to go back to China for completion of their studies. But as you pointed out, when it comes to the NSA, Ajit Doval, he of course played an important role. He met the Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi on the sidelines of the BRICS NSA meeting in Moscow just a few weeks ago. The Indian Foreign Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar and his counterpart Foreign Minister Wang Yi also met several times. That shows that there was a positive sentiment in the relationship, but nobody had any knowledge, at least publicly, about what is going to happen. And earlier this week, when the Indian Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri announced that the patrolling agreement has happened, and there was a confirmation from the Chinese side as well, we know that that led to the big breakthrough in terms of the first in-person bilateral between the two leaders, even though, let me recount that both the leaders had an informal chat both at the BRICS Summit in South Africa last year and the Bali G20 Summit, which happened in 2022.
Thank you, Siddhant, for getting us all the details and getting for us all the updates all through the BRICS Summit. Have a safe flight home. For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.